Imagine you're the only woman on Earth that can get pregnant. Would you tell somebody so they can do experiments on you, or would you keep quiet and raise the baby alone in the woods? Well, stick until the end to see how this dystopian world turns into chaos as the only woman who can give birth is found. Welcome to your daily dose of Movie Pill, where we're recapping the 2006 movie titled Children of Men. Spoilers ahead, and let's go! In the year 2027, humanity finds itself in a dire predicament, unable to reproduce for nearly 2 decades, pushing the species to the brink of extinction and leading to the collapse of society. Amidst this turmoil, the United Kingdom stands as one of the few nations with a functioning government, attracting a surge of refugees seeking sanctuary within its borders. Consequently, the streets are patrolled by the military, apprehending immigrants for incarceration or even execution. Our story commences as Theo, the protagonist, enters a bakery in search of coffee, only to be confronted by the news on the television. The world's youngest individual has passed away. Despite the widespread devastation among those present, Theo appears unfazed. Exiting the bakery, he nonchalantly enhances his coffee with whiskey, moments before an explosion rips through the shop. Though surrounded by chaos, Theo emerges unscathed, seemingly unaffected by the turmoil. Returning to work, Theo finds his colleagues consumed by grief over the loss of the world's youngest person. Seizing upon this moment, he fabricates his distress to his boss, securing permission to complete his tasks from home. Along his journey, Theo encounters a train besieged by rebel attacks and guarded by police, with cages filled with refugees dotting the station. Yet, even in the face of such a situation, Theo remains stoic, his demeanor untouched by the escalating chaos. Outside the station, Theo reunites with his longtime friend Jasper Palmer. After exchanging a warm embrace, they hop into Jasper's car and make their way to his secluded countryside residence, engaging in a discussion about the recent bakery explosion. Speculating that the government might be behind the bombing, they observe a bus transporting refugees to a camp in Bexhill as they drive. Hidden deep within the woods, Jasper's home requires them to clear decoy branches obstructing their path. Jasper teasingly remarks on Theo's lack of romantic interests and his preference for alcohol, offering him a place to stay, an offer Theo declines. Inside the house, a glimpse into Jasper's past as a political cartoonist and his wife Janice's career as a photojournalist is revealed through photos and newspaper clipping. However, their lives have taken a drastic turn. Jasper has embraced a hippie lifestyle and deals in marijuana, while Janice remains immobile after enduring torture. Among the souvenirs are old pictures of Theo with a woman and a young boy. After exchanging pleasantries with Janice, Theo and Jasper relax on the couch, indulging in smoking and lively conversation. Jasper reveals that his main client is an immigration officer stationed at the Bexhill camp, sparking a debate about the potential existence of the elusive Human Project, an underground scientific endeavor aimed at resolving humanity's infertility crisis. The following day, Theo returns to his own residence, but is abruptly abducted from the street by a militant faction known as the Fishes. Blindfolded and transported in a van, he is finally unveiled in Fish's territory, where he discovers his ex-wife, Julian Taylor, waiting for him. She apologizes for the dramatics, explaining that it was necessary to evade the authorities. She has been pursued since their days as activists, but Theo has moved on from that chapter of his life, clarifying that they were not responsible for the bakery bombing. Julian leads Theo outside for a stroll. She reveals that they need transfer papers for a refugee girl to reach the coast and suggests Theo could obtain them through his cousin. Despite Julian's persistence and offers of compensation, Theo declines, claiming he doesn't require her money, a statement clearly untrue. Unwilling to cooperate, Julian's associate masks Theo's face once more and escort him out. During the van ride, a Fisher member assures Theo that such incidents are rare and warns him of continued surveillance. Another Fisher member provides Theo with a sign to hang on the tube in case he changes his mind before dropping him off in the street with some bus fare. Subsequently, Theo appears to reconsider, paying a visit to his cousin Nigel, who serves as a minister. A chauffeured car transports him to Nigel's private residence, where classic artworks, including a damaged Michelangelo's David, are meticulously restored. Over lunch, Nigel's son, absorbed in a screen attached to his body, pays them no mind. Upon inquiring about the transfer papers upon the disguise of needing them for his girlfriend's ailing brother in Brighton, Theo is reminded of the significant favor he's requesting, especially given the tight control over such documents. After some familiar discord, Nigel promises to look into it. Reflecting on Nigel's art collection and its uncertain future, Theo questions the purpose of preserving it for a world that may no longer exist in a century. Nigel brushes off the existential dilemma. Later, at a pub, Theo is approached by Luke, a member of the Fishes, who notices the sign Theo had displayed. Theo confirms he obtained the papers, but reveals they are joint, implying he must accompany the girl, a responsibility he's willing to undertake for a higher fee, a proposition Luke accepts due to Julian's regard for Theo. The following day, while Theo is engaged in betting on dog races, places, he is approached by a fish's member, a woman carrying the same sign he had used previously. Intrigued, he followed her outside and onto a bus, where he finds Julian waiting for them. Their conversation steers towards the transfer papers, but quickly shifts to reminiscing about their shared past, leading to a heated argument over the loss of their child, Dylan, and their subsequent separation. As they disembark at their destination, Theo seizes the opportunity to question why he was chosen, to which Julian responds with the trust and uncertainty about their future, punctuated by a fleeting kiss. Accused of being motivated solely by money, Theo presses for answers, prompting their meeting with Luke under a bridge, where Theo promptly receives his payment. As Luke outlines the plan for Theo's journey with Key, the girl he'll be escorting, they are joined by a woman named Miriam. Together, they embark on the journey to Canterbury. Theo drifts into sleep during the early part of the trip, but awakens later to reminisce with Julian about their activist past and engage in a playful game with a golf ball. However, their journey is interrupted by an armed gang ambush, resulting in Julian getting shot. Fleeing from both the gang and subsequently the police, Luke is forced to stop the car, eliminating the pursuing officers before driving the group to safety. After bidding farewell to Julian, Theo struggles to contain his emotions, allowing himself a moment of grief after being urged back into the car by Luke to avoid capture. Arriving at a fish's safe house under the cover of nightfall, they convene for a leadership vote. Despite Theo's desire to journey to London, the group deems it too dangerous, offering him instead a shower and fresh clothes as he awaits the following day's safer leaving. After freshening up, he engages in casual conversation with a member of the fishes before Miriam seeks him out to escort him with Key. They make their way to the barn as the fishes convene to vote for Luke as their new leader. Left alone with Key inside the barn, Theo listens as she recounts stories Julian shared about their child, expressing her trust in him to guide her to safety should circumstances worsen, particularly to the boat named the Tomorrow. Theo doesn't want anything to do with this, so he hesitates until Key discloses her pregnancy, stunning him with the revelation. Their moment is abruptly interrupted by Luke, who leads them all back to the house. As they watch news reports detailing the discovery of Julian's body and the ensuing search for her associates, a debate ensues over Key's fate. The fishes don't want to expose her to government intervention, while Theo advocates for her well-being. Complicating matters is the difficulty of contacting the Human Project, heightening the stakes of missing their opportunity. Ultimately, Key decides to remain in the safe house until after the birth of her baby, but maintains her desire to reach the Tomorrow thereafter. Later that night, Theo's insomnia prompts him to investigate noises outside, revealing the return of their previous attackers. Luke orchestrated the ambush with the intention of seizing leadership and using the baby as a pawn in their revolution. Determined to prevent this plan, Theo rushes to Key's and Miriam's room to alert them and aid in their escape. Stealthily evading the guards, they approach each car cautiously, disabling two of them and attempting to start the third, which proves futile. Theo resorts to pushing the car downhill, drawing the attention of the fishes. Despite their pursuit, they avoid shooting due to Key's presence in the car, resorting instead to attempting to grab them through the window. As the car stops once more mid-hill, Theo leaps out to push it again. While successful in getting it moving, they encounter a fishes member who aims his weapon at Theo, prompting Theo to push him away with the car door. Reaching the base of the hill, the car becomes stuck in the mud, prompting Theo to push while Miriam jumpstarts it. After several attempts, the car finally starts, prompting Theo to chase after it to rejoin the others. With Miriam's assistance, they manage to escape the farm, with Theo back with the women, assisting their getaway. Theo informs Miriam of a hiding place and leads them to Jasper's residence, where they're warmly welcomed. Over dinner, they deliberate their option. Neither of the two stops offered by the Humans Project boat seems viable. Winsmore is too distant to reach in time, while Bexhill represents the refugee camp. Jasper proposes Bexhill as the solution and advises them to eat while he prepares. The following morning, Miriam practices a yoga-like routine outdoors, while Key braids Janice's hair. Theo asks Key about her pregnancy. She reveals she's 8 months along and unaware of the father's identity. Jasper returns with a plan. They'll infiltrate the Bexhill camp with the help of his police contact, who will assist their journey to the boat. Key agrees to the plan. Night descends. While Theo enjoys a drink, he overhears the others conversing and sharing cigarettes. Jasper recounts the tale of how Theo and Julian crossed paths, initially as protesters before their relationship was strained by the loss of their child to a flu pandemic. Preferring not to dwell on the memories, Theo decides to not listen anymore and retires for the night. The following morning, they are awakened by an alarm indicating that the fishes have found something. Jasper directs Theo to reach out to Sid before guiding him and the women to the car, choosing not to accompany them. He decides to stay behind, citing previous encounters with dangerous situations. Theo drives the girls away, but stops the car at a hill to observe the situation at the house from a distance. As the fishes arrive, discontent with Jasper's responses, they resort to violence, ultimately shooting him. Choosing not to disclose this to Key, Theo reassures her everything is fine before leaving for good. They arrive at their designated meeting spot the the following day, an abandoned school. While Key enjoys the swings, Miriam shares with Theo about her previous profession as a midwife and the gradual impact of infertility on her patients. A truck arrives, signaling the arrival of Sid, their contact. After confirming their identities with the password, Sid facilitates their entry into the truck and drives them to the refugee camp. Key experiences her first contraction during the journey, which they attribute to car sickness. Upon reaching Bexhill, Sid recommends that they wear serious expressions as they exit the truck and board a crowded bus filled with refugees quickly leaving the area. As Key's contractions intensify, her water breaks by the time they reach the actual camp. A guard notices her distress, prompting Miriam to distract him by pretending devotion to God, leading to her removal for execution, with the guard also threatening to intervene with Key. Theo points to the water on the floor, claiming it to be urine and excrement, effectively deterring him. Theo and Key disembark the bus and join a line, where Theo momentarily loses sight of Key when instructed to discard his watch by a guard, but they quickly reunite. The line of people is eventually released into the city, now transformed into a refugee camp, where they seek out Marichka, a Romanian woman who guides them to a secure abandoned building. There, she provides them with a private room where Key can undergo labor. Despite the challenging ordeal, Theo offers guidance and Key successfully delivers a healthy baby girl. The following day, Sid pays a visit to check on them. The city has descended into chaos following an explosion, prompting mass migration, and Sid arrives to assist them in escaping the dangerous environment. Upon noticing the baby, Sid pledges to escort them to a boat. However, Marichka opposes this plan, insinuating doubts about Sid's character. In response, Sid draws his gun and discloses his knowledge of a bounty on their heads, which he intends to claim. As they descend the stairs, Marichka manages to push Sid away, prompting Theo to intervene to protect Key. Following a scuffle during which Marichka strikes Sid with a stick, the three of them flee, with Sid in pursuit. After navigating through a hallway to reach the street, they seize the opportunity to escape when Sid becomes stuck at a door. Theo incapacitates him with a brick to the head, allowing them to make their getaway. Theo inquires about the boat, and after some initial confusion, Marichka comprehends and leads them through the chaos between the military and the fishes. Finding refuge in a building, they gain entry to a luxurious apartment after showcasing the baby to the owner through a window. They spend time eating, resting, and finding better shoes for Theo while two elderly women engage with the baby. With a guard's reminder that they must leave in an hour, they prepare Key by placing her on a wheelchair and exit the building. As they resume their flight, Luke and the fishes intercept them. Luke takes Key and the baby under his wing, leaving the other fishes to target Theo and Marichka. Just as they're about to open fire, additional military forces arrive, allowing Theo and Marichka an opportunity to escape and search for Key. Despite getting separated from Marichka, Theo persists, evading both soldiers and fishes until he seeks refuge in a building amidst heavy gunfire. Climbing multiple flights of stairs, he eventually locates Key and her baby near Luke, who attempts to persuade them of his noble intentions when a bomb detonates within the building, claiming Luke's life. Theo swiftly retrieves Key and the baby, easily leaving the building as bystanders are captivated by the infant's presence. The refugees approach them with a sense of awe, almost as if they're witnessing a miracle. Even the fishes, who intercept them, allow them to proceed. Exiting the building, the soldiers inside notice the presence of the baby and urgently call for the firing to cease, allowing them safe passage. As they walk away, they draw shocked stares from onlookers. But once they're at a safe distance, the gunfire resumes. Hastening back to the building's entrance where they were initially captured, they reunite with Marichka, who guides them to an underground passage where their boat awaits. Despite her reluctance to join them, Marichka gives the boat a push, sending them off to sea. Theo rows vigilantly until they reach the buoy, their designated rendezvous point. While waiting, Key spots blood on the boat, and Theo realizes that he's been shot, though he assures her he's alright. When the baby begins to cry, Theo demonstrates how to burp her, prompting Key to decide to name her daughter Dylan in memory of Theo's child. It's at this moment that Theo loses consciousness and perhaps even passes away, just as the tomorrow arrives to ferry Key and Dylan to safety. Ah, the epitome of human progress, relying on a group of rebels, a reluctant hero, and a baby to save the world. Who needs superheroes when you have this motley crew? Because nothing screams rebellion like relying on a cynical bureaucrat, a former activist, and a stoned hippie to save the future of humanity. And yes, because nothing says happy ending like navigating through a dystopian hellscape filled with trigger-happy militants and morally ambiguous characters. Truly a fairy tale for the ages. I rate this movie an 8.5 out of 10. What do you think? Looks like this movie pill is starting to wear off. But don't worry, there's always more where that came from. Tap here to keep the effects going with this next movie, because who can stop at just one? And while you're at it, don't forget to like and subscribe, because your next movie dose is just a click away.